What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this special Christmas-themed episode of Bridging the Geekdoms. I'm your host, Robert Slavinsky, and with me today, special guest. So excited to have him on the show. Without him, I would not have made it this far in podcasting, so I got to give him a lot of credit. But it's the man, the myth, the legend, Deej Penhollow of A Cup of Cheer holiday podcast, as well as Nerd Talkalypse podcast, and what else do we got? We Are VR, which is an amazing podcast and channel that you do kind of on TikTok. So thanks for joining me, man. And I love having you here because if I want to talk Christmas, obviously by the look of you, you're the man to do it with.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I wish I could have dressed up a little bit more for that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. I mean, I'm all decked out. You got nothing. So
I know that's ridiculous. Gotta have to deck the halls for next time.
Yeah, definitely. But definitely, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring you on because there's a debate that goes on, and it just rages on every single Christmas. And I'd like to say that it stems from one particular movie that kind of starts all of this discussion every single year. And it's the question of what makes a movie a Christmas movie. And the movie that kind of starts that debate every year is Die Hard. And I literally just watched Die Hard this morning. I woke up, I was like, you know what? I'm watching Die Hard. It's Christmas time. I got to watch Die Hard. I'm one of those people. I have to watch Die Hard at Christmas. But the debate is Die Hard a Christmas movie? If so, why? If not, why? And then there's obviously hundreds and hundreds of others, other movies that are considered Christmas or Christmas classics. But some of them I don't even think fall into the category of actually being a true Christmas movie, yet Die Hard gets so much of the heat for not being a Christmas movie. So I brought you on, Deej, because I wanted to discuss what makes a movie a Christmas movie. So I'll let you start, man. Like, what do you have? Like, what is your take on all of this?
Okay, so last year when we did the only season of Cup of Cheer, we haven't done anything this year. We were planning on it, and then we ended up not going into a bunch of stuff just because of COVID. And we like to get local businesses involved, so we just decided that there's a lot of stuff up in the air with local businesses, so we just haven't done a lot of that. Oddly enough, there also is not a ton of stuff. Like, you can only dive so deep into Christmas lore before you're repeating yourself. So we just decided to, maybe we'll come back next year with a little bit of different stuff. Now, this though, I would like to do this kind of stuff, talk to people about their favorite Christmas movies and things like that. But anyway, I digress. Let me go into this. Last year on an episode, we did talk about what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie. And that is defined by a moment that I have heard on, I don't know where it was from, but I have heard this term, and it is called the Linus Moment, which stems from Charlie Brown, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, things like that. In that movie, Linus says to Charlie Brown what the true meaning of Christmas is. So basically, if the movie doesn't have a moment where somebody has a Linus moment, if you would, where they discover what the true meaning of Christmas is, then it's not a Christmas movie. It's just a movie that takes place at Christmas time. You know what I mean? It's the same way you go out and you get a cheeseburger from McDonald's. Just because it's at Christmas time doesn't make it a Christmas cheeseburger. That's, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. However, today I came across something totally different. I'm going to read this for you right from my phone. So I'm going to look down. It says, in the end, no matter how passionately anyone argues his or her case, the Die Hard debate is unlikely to die. Christmas movies are not a distinct genre. The label is subject to personal definition. If one considers a Christmas film to be any picture with even a glimpse of the holiday, then that's what it is to them. When I was younger, Rob, for years, my mom made me grilled cheese sandwiches for breakfast. Well, let me tell you, I came to find out that grilled cheese sandwiches aren't breakfast food. And that was pretty debilitating to me because I had associated it with such. And that's where I stand on this debate as of today. Last year, I was pretty passionate about Die Hard not being a Christmas movie. This year, if you find comfort in it, I think you should let that be a Christmas movie. I will, however, say certain things, such as Shazam. Shazam is a movie that came out in April. Superhero Shazam. This movie came out in April. This movie is decked out with Christmas lights. It happens at Christmas time. Heck, it even has Santa Claus. Okay, but people are not queuing it up to watch for the holiday season. Okay, and at the same exact thing that I said about grilled cheese sandwiches earlier, Star Wars. Okay, the entire sequel trilogy came out in December. All right, somehow I managed to go my entire life just being a casual Star Wars fan. And I think Bob might like Star Wars, I'm not sure.
Nope.
But I was a casual Star Wars fan, and then I saw The Force Awakens, and that sort of skyrocketed my like for the series. And they came out at Christmas time. And now every time Christmas time rolls around, I find this overwhelming want to watch Star Wars. And I don't know why. But this year I've sort of stifled that want because, you know, it doesn't give me that Christmas feeling, but it does at the same time. You know, I used to deliver for Domino's. So I would go see these movies, and then I would have to go deliver pizzas at night. You know, and I would have Star Wars on the brain. You know, I'd be listening to Star Wars podcasts. I'd be listening to Colton and Robert talking in my ear about Star Wars, and I'd be looking at Christmas lights, you know, enjoying the season. And then I'd go into, you know, a store, I'd go somewhere else, and it'd be Christmas music playing. You know, so it's just sort of this association like George Costanza and sandwiches and having, heavy relations with women, and, you know, how women would end up turning him on in Seinfeld. Every time he got it, you know, he ate a sandwich, he would get turned on because he would eat during sex or whatever. So it's like that kind of, you know. So if you find a movie that makes you feel warm and fuzzy at the holiday season, that's a Christmas movie. You know what I mean? It's a long debate, and, you know, people keep saying like, oh, it's not this or that, but there's like 15 references to Christmas in Die Hard, I think, or more. There's like his wife's name is Holly. Like there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time that nobody talks about is The Ref. Have you ever heard of The Ref?
I have, yes.
With Dennis Leary. It's not a very sought after Christmas movie, but I love that movie. And they don't even mention it. Like nothing Christmassy happens in that movie, but it's hilarious, and it made me feel good when I watched it last year. You know, what I mean? It's the way you define it. That's all.
Yeah, and I kind of understand that, but, you know, as much as you want to sit there and say, oh, feel it is, like you said in what you were reading, the debate will continue on. There will always be a debate on whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie, or even the new one that's kind of popped up recently. And I think it's kind of another one of those ways of helping try and support those who believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Is this one, especially in the nerd realm of things, is Batman Returns. People now are claiming, look, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Batman Returns is.
Sure.
It's hard to debate that. It really is, because you know, it takes place at Christmas, and that's kind of where I look at it. You know, not another person, but a writer who is really good at utilizes the Christmas season is Shane Black, and almost all of his movies that he's written and or directed, they all take place at Christmas time. Probably one of the most famous ones that he wrote is Lethal Weapon. Well, that's Lethal Weapon 3. Probably should have pulled up Lethal Weapon, not Lethal Weapon 3. Good job, me. But the first Lethal Weapon, the first Lethal Weapon he wrote takes place at Christmas time. But it's as much a Christmas movie as Die Hard is, yet not so many people jump over to that Lethal Weapon and say, hey, I'm going to watch Lethal Weapon because it takes place at Christmas. So I kind of want to get, because I know where you're going with it. I understand that you're saying, look, if you feel, if it gives you that funny feeling, or those nice, not funny, but fuzzy feelings inside at Christmas or about Christmas, then by all means make it a Christmas movie, or it can be a Christmas movie. But like, to you, like, honestly, like, if I were to pop up this movie here, is that a Christmas movie? Would you say,
yeah,
Christmas?
I mean, no, I have never associated Gremlins as a Christmas movie, but I know that it is. Like,
yeah,
You know what I mean? I know that it's a movie that takes place. That's what I'm saying. This debate is not. It can't be a debate anymore. You know what I mean? It can't be like, you know, you have to define things. I don't think. All right, here's a great one: planes, trains, and automobiles. Okay, you asked me before what I was going to bring up. I forgot about this one. If you could find the cover for that, the latest cover, it's all red and green, and it's got winter on it and things like that. But that is definably not a Christmas movie. But for some reason, it crops up with all the rest of them.
Well, here, let's take a look at the original cover here. I grabbed this. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull it up because this is actually a good example. Like you're saying, it technically isn't. What the heck did I just do? There we go. You're right. It's not. And I'm going to do that one and this one because you're going to see the two differences. I'm going to pop them both on here. And yeah, I knew what you're right. Whenever you mentioned it, I was like, you know what? I remember seeing that because it's something that they've done. And it's only been recent that they did this. It's coming. Come on, StreamYard. Work a little faster for me, buddy. Boom, right here.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
The one on the left, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the white background, that's the original cover. That was the cover of that epic. It's one of my favorite holiday films. I'm not going to call it a Christmas movie because in my eyes, it's not a Christmas movie. It's a holiday film. But that is one of my favorite holiday movies. That's what I've always known it as. But then the one on the right, where it's all green and red and white with the snow and the blue background,
look, there's even freaking Christmas gifts there, and there's a North Pole. What is that?
Yeah, like that has nothing to do with the movie at all.
Like Christmas isn't even mentioned in the movie.
No,
like he's just like trying to get home to his wife for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's very strange the way that movies are marketed. That's why I'm like, man, I cannot even tell you how weird it was when I went to see Shazam in theaters. And I'm sure you experienced the same thing. The movie opens up with a freaking Christmas Carol, and you know what I mean. And then it takes place at Christmas time. It's April. You know what I mean? It's getting warm outside. Yeah. It was super weird. Not that it was uncomfortable, but it's a little weird, man. Like I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you know, I don't. I remember one time in my life that it was like June or July, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and watch Jingle All the Way, and I did. You know what I mean? But I didn't. Yeah. I don't know why. Like I just did, but it's not like. I'm not that guy anymore. Like I want to, you know, I'm the type of guy that totally surrounds himself at Christmas time. But Jingle All the Way has a lot of, I don't know, man. It's a pretty Christmassy movie too.
It's this is one movie that I will sit there and completely agree that this is a Christmas movie because it really. See, my thing is this, and you talked about the Linus Moment, and you've actually mentioned this to me before. I think we've had the debate, obviously off screen, off podcast, everything like that, when it comes to the whole idea of a Christmas movie. And for me, I think that there has to be a few different aspects to signify being a Christmas movie. And number one, it has to take place during Christmas. There has to be that Christmas element, even in the background, such as like in Die Hard or Batman Returns. I'm not saying either one of those are Christmas movies to those who don't want to think they are, but that there's the backdrop of Christmas. It has to be there. Even Iron Man 3, I should have thrown that up. Iron Man 3 has a backdrop of Christmas.
So Iron Man 3, funny story. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Iron Man 3, the opening track of Iron Man 3 where he's like putting his suit on.
Yeah.
And I downloaded that entire album off of iTunes. That whole like Christmas remixed. It's great. It's really good. I watched it and was like, wow, this is a Christmas movie. And it was like $20 still. And I was like, man, I downloaded it and I listen to it every year, all the time. And it starts off with that iconic track of him doing that.
Well, but I think getting back to my point, which I honestly haven't watched Iron Man 3 in a while, so I couldn't even tell you what tracks you're talking about. But the backdrop has to have Christmas. It has to be Christmas. The next one is they have to learn something, whether it's the meaning of Christmas or the meaning of family or the importance of family, something that represents what kind of Christmas is about.
So
in a way.
The Linus Moment has everything to do with goodwill towards men.
In a way, yes.
So a lot of people think that, a lot of people draw some pretty obscure conclusions with John McClane, sorry, that he does that, and I'm like, well, look, you're reaching now. You know what I mean? I get it.
I think, and I kind of agree with that idea, because John McClane and his wife were having difficulties. All right, and if you remember, he and his wife are having issues where they may be separating. What happens at the end of the movie is he's completely on board with her and willing to support her and be with her, and that's kind of one of those moments where he comes to at some point of, oh, like, my family, she is the most important thing to me. She's important to me. And I think that that's an important aspect of Christmas. Christmas is very much so, in my eyes, a family holiday, and understanding and respecting and loving your family. I think that's an important aspect of Christmas. And to me, that there, John McClane coming to realization that, granted, it took a bunch of terrorists to, almost kill everybody in Nakatomi Plaza, but he came to the realization that, he doesn't want to live a life without his wife, Holly.
But not to well, I don't know what the word, just disgrace that theory, but does Christmas have anything to do with that decision?
Not 100%.
If the movie took place,
but it does kind of.
Because if the movie took place in October or summertime or anything like that, would he have still come to the same realization had he taken down the terrorists in Nakatomi Plaza? That's the debate.
He's only invited to Nakatomi Plaza for a Christmas party. So had it not been Christmas and a Christmas party,
they would have ended up divorced. Is that what you're telling me?
It very, very well possibly, yeah. I mean, come on, Holly was already going by her maiden name.
Okay, well, let's take this a step further. Die Hard is the only Die Hard movie I've ever seen.
Die Hard 2, and I'm going to say this here. I actually think Die Hard 2 is a better Christmas movie than Die Hard 1, but that's just me. But go ahead.
Okay, well, that was my second question. Do any of the other Die Hards take place at Christmas time?
Die Hard 2 does. Yes, yeah.
Okay. What about the final Die Hard in the canon?
The final one in canon? I kind of stopped paying attention after the fourth one.
Well, the most important question here is he still with Holly?
Okay, you got a point. No, they are actually split up. By the third one, they're split up. Yeah.
I don't think Christmas has anything to do with it.
But just, I mean, you're not wrong. I can see your idea there. But if you really think about it, did they know they were going to make Die Hard 2, Live Free or Die Hard with Vengeance, all that? No, they didn't know that. Die Hard was this movie that they made start to finish. There's no even insinuation that it will or can continue on. I mean, the entire story is closed up by the time the credits roll. If they never made another one, there's not like, well, I wonder what happened to John McClane. No, because at the end of that movie, you're like, John and Holly are together and he's with her now. Like, they're going to be together. So in all fairness, that movie in and itself can be considered a Christmas movie because the Christmas aspect had everything to do with him being there. He came to fruition, and realized, oh, I need to be with, or I want to be with Holly, and so on and so forth. I just think those are the two big things.
All right. Well,
and here's the thing. This is where it comes around to something else, because It's a Wonderful Life, I've actually started hearing that people don't consider this a Christmas movie, yet it is a staple every Christmas season. Like my mother, she has to watch it every Christmas season. But there's now debate out there questioning if It's a Wonderful Life is actually a Christmas movie.
I totally agree with you. I've heard the same thing, and I've never seen that movie.
Mm-hmm. You're not missing much. I'm sorry. I it's all that great of a movie.
I know. So I've heard. I live about an hour away from Indiana, Pennsylvania, which is where Jimmy Stewart was from. They have an entire museum there. I was going to go like last weekend, but actually no, I was going to go yesterday. Yesterday. But the governor took care of that one. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that I have heard the same thing of that. I also, feel remarkably similar about Home Alone. They're very Christmassy in their aesthetics, but like nothing terribly Christmassy happens in Home Alone.
Yeah. Again, you're right. I mean, Home Alone does take place just the very end, I think, of both Home Alone and Home Alone 2 both take place. Like the ending is Christmas. Everything is prior to Christmas time. But then again, I mean, have that Die Hard aspect of it. This is where a lot of Die Hard, I think why a lot of people consider Die Hard such a Christmas classic, because Home Alone is very similar. I'm not talking about all the traps and everything, even though there's a nice little correlation there. But, the main thing is realizing the importance of somebody in your life, realizing, that it's not all about you. And that's what Home Alone is about. That's what Kevin learns in those movies, is that it's not all about him, that his family is just as important, and it's important to have family and respect family and to love your family. And it has the backdrop of Christmas. So if you take a look at Home Alone, which again takes place at Christmas, there's not the Linus moment that you're talking about, but it has that whole idea of what Christmas is about.
I disagree with you. There are 2 Linus moments in each one of those movies. I'm sorry, 2 among the 2.
Okay,
and that is Old Man Marley.
Okay.
He discovers the true meaning of Christmas in the church.
But it's not about him. The movie is not about him, though.
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that as long as somebody realizes what goodwill towards men is in the movie, then I think that. But I also disagree. I agree and disagree with myself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because,
how do you disagree with
yourself? Because like Old Man Marley discovers the meaning of Christmas. He makes up with his son. Everything is well and good. The same goes for the Pigeon Lady. She also has a better Christmas because of Kevin. And he makes a friend, and he, donates all of his money to the children's hospital and things like that. Like he makes very selfless decisions because of Christmas, and because he's learning, that he's not to be a selfish person, I guess. But those movies would make the same sense if they didn't take place at Christmas time. That's my point. Like Christmas doesn't really define those movies. Now I was watching the movies that made us on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I watched the Home Alone one, and I know that they like intentionally like went around and made sure like that everything in the house was red and green the whole way across. Red walls, green floor, whatever it may be, red couch, green pillows. They did that on purpose because they wanted it to be a Christmas movie. But I'm sorry, like nothing super Christmassy happens in those movies. He does visit a fake Santa Claus, like things like that, but. Now, if I had to make an argument, like the first one is more Christmassy than the second one, but the second one takes place in New York at Christmas time. So it's like, it's hard to say. There's people out there who are like, when they want a Christmas movie, they want. Well, there's a good debate, man. Where do you stand on Christmas movies? What makes a Christmas movie feel like a holiday movie to you? Do you like the whimsical, the fantastical? Do you want to see Santa and his elves? Do you want to see all the stuff that's like that? Or do you want to see more grounded movies? Like most Hallmark movies are very grounded in reality. They're rom-coms. Yet they're the most popular ones. There's nothing super fantastical happening in them yet, but they're like ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, look, I kind of said my 2 things. I think it has to have the Christmas backdrop. And then you have to have that moment where it's not the Linus moment exactly, but a moment of where the main characters come to the realization of the importance of family, of what Christmas means. Because you can also get into the debate of even the religious Christmas movies, because some of them have a little bit, they're not always just about Jesus Christ and stuff like that, but they're about, other things as well. But honestly, I think it comes down to just, let's take the Santa Claus, for instance, a fantastic movie, one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies with Tim Allen. And, it's a film, but it's not grounded on reality. I mean, it is a movie about a man who becomes Santa Claus because he actually kills Santa Claus accidentally, but he kills Santa Claus and becomes Santa Claus himself. And, it's not grounded in reality, but it is yet again a movie that takes place at Christmas, and it comes around to the main character understanding the importance of family and the importance of loved ones and everything like that. That doesn't necessarily have your what's the importance of Christmas aspect that you're saying. I think that the whole Linus aspect works, but there's levels to it. And I think that's actually what I've been, as we've been sitting here talking, that's what I've been getting or talking about, is there's kind of levels of that Linus moment, because it's not just about what is Christmas about. It's if those characters find something within what Christmas is about. So they don't need to come to discover that, oh, this is the true meaning of Christmas. It's, to the main character, Christmas is not Christmas without my family. Christmas is not Christmas, or my life isn't my life without family. And if it takes place at Christmas, I think that means it's a Christmas movie. It's a part of a Christmas, the Christmas holiday. But that's me. I don't know. Do you catch what I'm saying a little bit?
I do. And as you were saying that, the movie that came to my mind, actually, there was two of them. There's movies like Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
That movie is the worst Christmas movie I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
There is nothing in that movie there to give you any sort of holiday spirit at all, yet it's called Four Christmases. And one of the movies that does give me all that warm and fuzzy feeling is called Why Him, with Bryan Cranston and James Franco.
I've never actually watched that. But
it's a great movie all the way around, and it unintentionally takes place at Christmas time, and you cannot tell from the cover.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then there's I had another one. Surviving Christmas with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
That movie defines pretty much everything you just talked about. You know what I mean? That movie, that guy, Ben Affleck, I can't remember his name in the movie, but he tries to have a Christmas that basically, for lack of a better phrase, he buys one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wants to, he structures it so it's going to be a good Christmas, and it ends up being kind of chaotic, but then he ends up liking being there.
Yeah. Surviving Christmas. I actually enjoy that movie quite a bit. I mean, got the late great James Gandolfini in it, Christina Applegate, if I'm not mistaken. It's a really good cast. But yeah, you're right. It's a movie. While I enjoy it, it's not one that when we're sitting here talking, that I would hit. But you're right. It hits a lot of those marks right there.
In the same of Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito and
Matthew Broderick. I love that movie.
I do too. In that movie, what is he doing the entire time? He's straight structure, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And the whole moral of that movie is, man, you should just let Christmas happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need to have an advent calendar that tells you what you need to do each specific day to have a good Christmas. Because what's your favorite Christmas memory? Oh, sitting on the floor with my dad, drinking chocolate milk and eating French fries or whatever it was, with nothing else. No Christmas movies, no lights, no music, anything like that. Why is that your favorite Christmas memory? Nothing Christmassy happened. You know, why are you trying to, to be this man of tradition? You don't have to do that, man. And that movie is made for that. I will never forget that lesson from that movie. Just let things happen the way they do, which is why this debate should end. In general, whatever makes you feel good, that's it for you.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, let's take a look at it realistically. Let's look at a Christmas movie or a movie, and again, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think you have to have the backdrop of Christmas, though, because you can't sit there and say, let me just pick a random movie here. I can't think of one right now. Just can't, like you can't pick a movie that takes place just in the middle of summer, no aspects of Christmas in it. And even though it may have a similar theme of finding oneself and becoming, the realization of, the importance of family and being loved and all that, if there's no Christmas aspect at all, you can't say it's a Christmas movie. I think the number one thing that has to be in all Christmas movies is the Christmas background. In some form or fashion, there needs to be a background of Christmas.
That's true. I mean, look at movies. Every single movie that Hallmark puts out, they're the same. Even in the summertime, they're the same.
Yeah, exactly.
If you take a summer Hallmark movie and you drape it in Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that they.
It's the same film.
That's the way that they pretty much do it, and they're the most popular movies of all. You know what I mean? Hallmark is now marketing that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're marketing themselves on the fact that they make their own movies.
I think I remember hearing like before this season started that they had a total of I think like 30 or 35 Christmas movies they were going to release between Thanksgiving and Christmas or something like that.
Oh, that's insane.
It is. It's insane.
And I like them. I'm a Hallmark movie fan. I don't mind them at all at the holiday season. This is the way I structure myself. November 1st, I start Christmas up. I start watching Hallmark Christmas movies. I do that for most of November. Then I watch the mainstream stuff closer to Christmas. You know what I mean? That's the way I do it. Now, here's something funny. We watched a whole bunch of Hallmark movies this year, and I probably saw the same actors in every single one of them just being recycled.
Well, I mean, that's what they do.
I know. It's funny. Like
Candace Cameron and what's the guy's name from it's right there. I can't think of it though. Anyway, I mean, Candace Cameron's pretty much in all of them though.
There's a lot. It's very interesting, but they're all good in their own right.
Yeah. I'm not a big Hallmark fan. Actually, my fiance and I just talked about this. I think it was yesterday because we watched a couple Christmas movies the past couple days, and I'm like, I can't do the Hallmark type of Christmas movies. It's really tough for me to sit through them and I'm a chick flick guy. I do enjoy a good chick flick, but when it comes to the holiday rom-coms, they're always just so bad to me. Like I can't get into them. I'm more in the more traditional Christmas films, your Jingle All the Ways, your Santa Claus, the Christmas with the Cranks and stuff like that. Like those are movies, Christmas films that I have to watch on a yearly basis. Die Hard, I have to do it.
Wait, you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Wait, is that what started this whole thing?
I'm with you. I watched. I mean, I'm not with you I do like those movies, but like I said, I structure them properly because I don't think that they give me enough of that lovely Christmas nectar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make me feel like that, but it helps get the ball rolling. It gives me. I think you told me like that you're like this too. Do you keep stuff on in the background when you're doing stuff in the house?
Yeah, sometimes.
So rather than having Chris's music on all the time, which I usually do, depending on how focused I want to be, I'll throw on some Christmas jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes I'll just throw on a Hallmark movie because I don't care about them. I'm not invested in them, but I'll throw it on for the background noise, for the the general Christmas chatter that might be happening. And that's fun. I think that's a good thing. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty of December, I like to roll with the classics. I like to put on some Elf and some things like that. Like, I don't deal with the creepy Polar Express. That movie is just bizarre.
Elf is a great movie. That's another one that's my go-to. Actually, I haven't yet watched that this year. I got to get on that. Actually, I haven't watched that or the Santa Claus yet. So those are two I got to get on in the next couple of weeks. But
where do you stand on the Santa Claus sequels?
They got worse with each one. Like
I actually like the third one. But I'm a sucker for a time travel movie, man.
Santa Claus 2 is good. I enjoy it to a certain extent. And then the third one, it is what it is. I mean, it's a continuation of that story. It felt more of the same as kind of the first one a little bit. But I mean, overall, I enjoy all of them. I'm a sucker for Tim Allen. I really do enjoy watching things Tim Allen is in. I think he's one of those actors that I'm going to give it if I hear he's in it, I'm going to give it a shot because I think he's a good and funny and talented actor. That's why I like Christmas with the Cranks so much, because his chemistry with come on, help me.
Aykroyd?
No. Yeah, him too, but his wife.
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think their chemistry in that movie is just perfect because of his over-the-topness with her more dry humor. I just feel really just clash really well in that movie. And yeah, I mean, he's just one of those actors and I want him to do more Christmas films, because whether it's more Santa Claus movies, which I think would be a great thing right now. I think the world needs another Santa Claus movie.
The world wants that. Have you seen his post recently?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, man, you need to look it up. Maybe you could bring it up real quick. It was from his Twitter page. It's probably at the top of his Twitter page. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking here. But he like posted recently a picture of him with a beard and.
Oh, really? Let's see here. December 9th.
I got it right here. I'm going to send it to you. Yeah, he posted it and he's like, "Oh, this always happens to me around Christmas time."
He's really cool. He's a.
And then people blew him up on Twitter, like, "Oh, come on, please make the Santa Claus 4." And so, and people asking Charlie to do the same thing. The actor who plays Charlie.
Yeah, why is it not working? Come on, try this here. There we go. Yeah, I'd like the Santa Claus films are one of my all-time favorites for sure. I'll let everybody see what we're talking about here. Those of you who are watching, for those of you that are listening, make sure you head over to Bridging the Geekdoms on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and like all of my videos so you can see what we're talking about. But here we go. Yeah, he's got a nice going beard and mustache there. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would love to see, and I would love to see him do another Christmas film, whether it's the Santa Claus or something else. I think he's perfect for that time of year. But I don't know, man. I think we've pretty much covered it all. For those of you watching and listening, make sure you let us know what you think. What makes a movie a Christmas movie to you? What makes it to you? What is it that sets everything? It sets it apart from any other movie. Let us know in the comments. Follow me on Twitter at Bridge Geekdoms. You can find Deej on Twitter on probably one of his 15 Twitter accounts he has.
I only have 3 right now, Amanda.
What's the one that you use the most that they can find you on?
What's that?
What's the Twitter that they can find you on? The one you use the most? Do Cup of Cheer. We can do Cup of Cheer.
Lately, I've been using We Are VR, which is at We Are VR Podcast, and then I started up my own at Mr. Picklebush.
I have it all down in the description. You'll be able to find him on the Twitter, and obviously check out his Cup of Cheer podcast. Wow, they did it last year. It's a great listen. I even have a segment on one of the episodes that I talked a little bit about something. It's really cool. I love the whole idea and the aspect of having a holiday-themed, Christmas-themed podcast because Christmas is one of those times a year, or one of the times a year that we should all be happy and joyous and excited and not worried about all the bullshit that's going on in the world, but rather just having a good time and loving life. And I think with your podcast, and I listened to every episode last year, with your podcast, you definitely did that. I would listen to it on my way to and from work, and it was nice to it was an escape from reality, and it was nice. So definitely good job.
For those of you listening, the Christmas holiday is super bizarre. Okay, and it took me 29 years of life to realize, why do we do this stuff? Like, what is this? What is Christmas? Why do we do half the things that we do? You know what I mean? How did they all become what they are? And that was what fascinated me to start up A Cup of Cheer, because I wanted to know, and I started realizing, well, this is pretty good content. Like, some of this stuff is super strange, but most of it, I'm not going to lie, I got a lot of the information off the internet from whychristmas.com. You could find a lot of it there. And I pretty much sucked that site dry, like for everything that was on there. But if you want to reiterate on some of that stuff, just go to whychristmas.com. You can find out pretty much why we do everything and how things started. It is just so weird. Like, it's a very strange thing, but like, I don't know. I've been toying with the idea of putting up the phone number that we have. If you wouldn't mind, I could put it up on here, and people can call the number, and you can talk about your favorite Christmas memories. I think Rob did that last year. And you can.
Well, what is it here? I'll just say it and I'll type it out.
Okay, give me 1 second here.
All right.
I can't remember what it is at the moment. Whoops.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I did I was on an episode where I talked about my favorite gift that I received at Christmas time. And, it's one of those things that we all have that one gift in our childhood, I believe, that just blew your socks off, that you couldn't believe that you got at Christmas time, that you wanted so badly, and Santa Claus pulled through and got it for you, or your parents pulled through and got it for you. It was just one of those gifts, and that's what my little segment was on there. So definitely, check out his show. I know that you can find it on all the different podcatcher apps, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And I believe there's a link to it over at spoilerverse.com, if I'm not mistaken. So you can head over there and find it pretty easily.
You can also, I post pretty much daily. I try to post daily on our TikTok page, which is A Cup of Cheer Podcast. And that has a lot of like the same rotating Christmas facts that I'm trying to just keep putting out there. Where on earth? Okay. It's are you ready?
Yeah.
It's 814-503-0154.
All right. There it is. 814-503-0154. If you want to call in, and what do you want them to say? I mean, what do you want them to...
You can talk about your favorite Christmas memory, your favorite Christmas present, your favorite tradition, anything you guys that you want to talk about as far as the holiday, what you love about it, your favorite movie, anything like that. You can call. I'll put it on the show. I'll even put it up this year if you guys get them into me. I do, however, have one request. Please keep it short. Please keep it simple, and do not swear in the recording. There's a lot of families that listen to the show. It's widely popular, especially within the local community. But I know that last year we had an episode, I think we're like 19 people called in, and I put all 19 of them in one Christmas memory episode, and it was one of our most popular ones. A lot of people like to hear other people's experiences. So definitely you can say your name, where you're calling from, what you want to do. Even if you're an influencer online, I recommend it. You can even plug your own show. I don't care. You do what you want to do. I accept any and all recordings, unless you're going to be a terrible person on there. If you're going to call in and swear and say a bunch of dirty stuff just to be funny, then I will not put it on there. But that's what it is. That's what I was hoping the show to be this year. But as you all may know, 2020 is a real bugger. And it has caused me to not have nearly as much time as I had last year. And this is like, I have one day this weekend right now is like my only free time between now and the rest of the week. And I have to work overtime. And then I have off next Saturday, and that's it. And then I'm back to work until Christmas Eve. So it's really dumb, but it is what it is.
That's what it is. But at least you got the holiday season to look forward to, or to be excited about right now. And for all of you out there that are listening, that number is 814-503-0154. You can call A Cup of Cheer podcast and just talk about Christmas. And as he said, keep it short, keep it clean. As long as it's about Christmas, he will do what he can to get it out there. So definitely, hey, maybe I'll call in again. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I mean, I already have an outlet I could talk about stuff, but
that's true. I mean, I even encourage, man, you could even have your kids call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I encourage that.
I've been trying to get my kids to do a little more with the whole podcasting thing. I've gotten both of my sons on this show a couple times over the past couple months. I'm working them up to it. They sit there, they want to do streaming with video gaming. And I'm like, look, if you're going to do that, I want you guys to practice and get on a podcast with me, get more comfortable being in front of a camera and talking and everything like that. And I always say a family that podcasts together stays together. So,
well, this method here, it seems to be the future.
Yeah.
This is the Mandalorian of podcasts. All right. This is the future of the media here. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm not pulling numbers on the audio aspect of things.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to watch stuff. Everybody, you know what I mean? That's what quarantine did. Quarantine changed the game for a lot of people. Now I'm sure that YouTube is booming. TikTok is booming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never had more followers on any platform ever before than I have on TikTok for absolutely no reason at all. Not saying that I don't create good content, but man, I put up one video and that thing went boom. How weird.
Yeah.
Because, millions of people watched it for sitting there taking a poop. That's probably what happened.
That's what they do. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We're going to go viral because, everybody's ordering takeout and then sitting on the toilet. That's the way it is.
With that, man, again, thank you so much for being on. I definitely want to get you on the show more often. I want you on to talk about We Are VR. I also want to get back into your roots of how you started podcasting, talking about pop culture and all the fun things going on in that world right now. I mean, it's been pretty crazy the last year, especially the last probably about 7 or 8 months. It's been absolutely nuts within the pop culture world. So I definitely want to get you on for your thoughts on all of that. But again, when it came to a Christmas themed episode, I immediately thought of you and was like, you know what? I'm getting Deej on the show. This is how I'm doing it. It's going to be about Christmas because you, my friend, are probably the most passionate person I know when it comes to Christmas, and I had to get you on.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm that guy. I had a person here on Thanksgiving, and he was like yelling at me because I had my tree up, and I'm like, what do you want from me, man? That's just the way it is. I put it up November 1st. That's how I do it.
For all of you out there, make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe. The more people I get subscribing, the more people that are liking my videos, the more I'm going to get recognized and noticed. And that's what I want. I mean, I'm not doing YouTube just because I like talking to myself. I'm doing YouTube. I'm doing podcasts because I love talking to all of you and getting out there. And I think I bring some quality content to everybody. So please smash that like button, hit subscribe for all of that. Also, head over to spoilerverse.com. Spoilerverse.com is where you're going to find a whole lot more of me. I am the senior editor over there with all the articles that come out. Realistically, as of right now, I'm kind of the only one that writes articles over there. So if you're reading an article, most likely it's from me, which leads me to my next thing. If you want to help contribute in any way over at the Spoilerverse, hit me up. I'll get you the information you have to get to then send it to our editor-in-chief, and he will take a look at it and see if we can get you on board. But over at spoilerverse.com, not only are there articles, but we also have other podcasts such as Shootin' a Sith, which is my other show, Narrative Gunslingers, Misery Point Radio, our flagship show, Spoiler Country, which they do some amazing interviews with people within the industry, whether it's comics, whether it's Hollywood, music. They talk with everybody. It is fantastic. So definitely go check out that show. And obviously, Deej, A Cup of Cheer podcast. Check it out. Fantastic. Perfect time of year to do it. Go. The episodes aren't long, so you could probably get through all of them before Christmas, or even as you're baking pies or cookies. Just throw it on in the background. Listen to it. I think you all love it. So with all of that, thank you all for tuning in, whether you're listening, whether you are watching, whatever it is. Thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.